Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Armando F. Sanchez. I have the pleasure of talking to Oscar Leyva, who is in the Philippines at this moment, and we are connected through, thank you, through the internet. And the reason we're having Oscar here on the show is because he brings to us two stories. He brings up a story about himself, about how he joined the military when he was in San Jose. And the second part of the story is how he became a U.S. Veteran who's been deported, and he's living it between Mexico, Philippines, and other spots. We'll talk about that with him in a few seconds. And there's a story to look at carefully. That what can we do to help, and at the same time also pass on the story also to other generations and say, look, be careful, learn from what Oscar has to share, and let's look at the story that we can all learn from. Oscar, thank you for being on the program today.
You're welcome.
Oscar, tell us about how you became a veteran.
Well, in 1972, when I graduated from high school, I was uh, in the last uh, draft lottery, which happened in 1972, and my number came up in number 52. So instead of being drafted, I volunteered. That's what made me go inside in the military.
Now, how old were you at that time?
I was 18. I just graduated from high school.
Okay, where did you go to high school?
Where did I go?
Uh-huh.
Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Okay. Now, when you went into the military, what were your thoughts at that time? Were you, did you know you might go to Vietnam, or as a volunteer? Did the conditions change? What happened?
Yes, my thoughts were not having had anything to do with Vietnam. I really didn't think about it, and I didn't care. If they would have said me, I would have gone. That was no problem. Uh, I just wanted to defend my country, and that's about it. As far as going to Vietnam or not, that I really have no problems with that.
So what happened when you did join and you reported for duty?
Well, it was a hard time for me to get accustomed to the military life. I had a lot of problems the first year that I was in the military, and it was very hard for me. Uh, Nothing to do with my language barrier because I knew the English language very good. It was just hard for me. Uh, it took me a year to get used to being in the military.
Did you find any other camaradas out there from your area, the Texas?
Yes, no, they're from New Mexico. Yes, a
Oh,
few of them New Mexico,
right.
Roswell, Las Cruces, Clovis, New Mexico, Albuquerque. There was a few of us.
And how were they dealing with being in the military?
The same as I am. We were, the thing about us, all from New Mexico, we had a camaraderie against, with us. We used to hang around together. Uh, you know, that helped us a lot as far as um, staying in the military without having any problems.
So when you were in the military, were you ever offered? No, were you are a citizen, right?
No, I'm not. If I was a citizen, I wouldn't have gotten deported.
Okay, when you were in the military, did anybody mention that as you're serving the country, you can become a citizen? Did that issue ever come up?
Nobody's no. Nobody said nothing about me becoming a citizen. It wasn't a requirement back in the Vietnam War era. It wasn't a requirement as long as you were a green card holder. And
So
as far as
if you had asked, would they have changed your status to being a citizen?
well, if I would have asked, of course they would have helped me become a citizen. But then we changed the status. It wasn't up to them. It was up to the naturalization, immigration naturalization, not up to the United States Army.
So when you finished your service, again, did the question ever come up to your mind about becoming a citizen?
Well, the only thing that they told me before I got discharged from the United States Army, they told me if I wanted to re-enlist, if I wanted to go and join and volunteer for another 6 years, then I would have to be a United States citizen. But they didn't tell me nothing about. They didn't tell me nothing about if I wanted to be a citizen while I was doing my 3 years.
Now, help me understand a little bit. As a veteran who is not a citizen who completes their period of time in U.S. military, do you receive, like others as well who are in the same situation, do you receive full benefits as a veteran?
Of course, everything that the citizens, all military veterans, regardless if they're citizens or not, we receive the same benefits, including the GI Bill, medical, VA benefits. Everything is the same.
Okay. So, but not being a citizen puts you in a different category then. Did you ever consider the idea that says, hey, you know what, I need to change over to citizenship?
No, because honestly, I thought I was a citizen as soon as I got my honorable discharge. I thought automatically I would become a citizen, but that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now I understand that you're a part of a group. You're not the only person who's been deported. And I know there's a person in Tijuana, Mexico, Hector Barajas, who has put together a location to bring together veterans who have been deported. Not everyone who got deported to Mexico, but those that are. And I constantly see him on media where he has this location. Can you tell us a little bit of what you know about him and his work, and if you've had any contact with Hector?
Yes, I have. Um, when I got deported to my home state of Mexico, which was Chihuahua. And when I was in Chihuahua, I wasn't aware about any deported veterans organizations. When I was in Chihuahua, I happened to look in the television. And there was some information about deported veterans in Tijuana. That's how I found out about Hector Barajas, the
Mm-hmm.
banker.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I got a hold of Hector Barajas, and I moved in with him in 2014 November. And I was involved with Hector Barajas in November 2014. I actually lived with him in the bunker for about 7 months, and
Wow.
I still have a lot of contact with Hector Barajas.
Now I
Right,
understand. Now I understand his case was overturned, or he was pardoned by Governor Brown.
Governor Brown.
So there are some alternatives open to members who served in the military and got discharged honorably that could have their own cases reviewed so that they can become citizens.
There's still pardoning a lot of, but it's a very slow process. There's very small. There's few people that have been gotten the pardons. As far as I'm concerned, Hector Barajas is the only one.
Okay.
There's
Well,
a process.
hopefully he has set a track of how it can be done. Now, what I understand a little bit about the veteranos who have been deported is that one way or another they got themselves into trouble with the law. It varies what kind of cases, but that eventually those situations happen where they were deported instead of looked at as honorable discharge veterans. And I think that's where I want to bring this issue to, such as yourself, that you should be viewed as a citizen, not as a deportee.
You're right. You're right. I agree with you, but that's not happening. Uh, I think I told you before that all these deported veterans started getting deported in 1996, and with that what do you call it? That Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton immigration bill, terrorist act that happened in 1996. That's when they started deporting veterans, and apparently I was the one that got deported in 2012 under the Bill Clinton, under his administration.
Can you give me, and this is, I have not found any statistics, so we're guessing here completely. Do you have any approximate number, or have you seen any numbers? How many, veterans have been deported?
There's ICE doesn't have no record of how many deported veterans, but the only thing I can tell you is an approximate amount. There's over, I would say, 4,000 deported veterans all over the world, including Africa, Europe. I don't know about Asia, but Africa, Europe, and South America, and Latin America, and most of them, I would say, 70% of them from Mexico.
Wow.
But there's no.
How many do you, again, in the form of guessing, can you tell me about approximately how many are affiliated with Hector in Tijuana?
Affiliated with Hector, I would say a few hundred. But you have to a few hundred, because he's got a few bunkers not only in Tijuana. He's got one in Juarez, and I think he's got another one, and I'm not too sure where the other ones are.
I think I heard about the one opening up in Juarez very recently, también. So I've been keeping up with that. What is your advice? Given your experience, you have firsthand experience of what happened. What would be your experience to young men and women that may be going into the military, who are in the same situation? They're not citizens, but they're joining up in the military.
Well, my advice is for them to become a United States citizen as soon as they become join the military. That way, when they get out, if they commit a felony, they won't be deported because they're already citizens. That's my advice, because that's what happened to me. Apparently, that's I'm unfortunate to be one of the deported veterans that committed a felony.
And I know that we had a conversation later. I asked you privately. I said, how do you feel about that?
I didn't hear you.
I said, how did you feel about looking back at your history and what you did?
I knew, well, I think that I was, I did was wrong. I wasn't supposed to be committing felony, regardless if I was a citizen or not. Regardless if I wasn't deported or not.
Mm-hmm.
Dealing with drugs is not something to do, especially if you have a family. And apparently, I was a victim of getting deported while not becoming a citizen. I regret all that. I don't blame anybody except myself.
I admire that of you, that you say that. These are your words from yourself. You look at yourself and you say, I put myself in this situation. Looking again back to the youth of tomorrow, not necessarily in the military, what would be your advice about getting into trouble?
Can you
sure.
be more specific about what you think?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of your experience, again, what you've gone through, what's your advice to any young person about, thinking about choices of getting into trouble?
Well, the first thing that when you're young and in your teenager years, your education is very, very important. That way you don't get into all the drama with the drugs and streetwise and all that. Education is the best thing to do so you can get out of the drugs and education and your family life. That has to do with it. Stay out of a gang related uh, streetwise. That's not good. Happened to me. I got involved with gangs and drugs and all that. Even though I was educated, but I got away with it because drugs was easy money, real easy money.
Or it seemed like easy money at the time.
Well, it was easy money until I got popped, until I got arrested. Then all the money went down the drain. I used all the money for attorneys and all that.
It's short-lived success then.
Exactly.
Well, Oscar, thank you very much for being here. We fought a few hours to connect, and we finally did it. And you're actually one day ahead of me. If that people can explain that, because you're in the Philippines, and here in Los Angeles. But I want to thank you very much for your honesty, for sharing the story with you. And for me, my personal story is, you looked at your experience of what you did that got you into trouble, but you admitted that it was your fault, and you can see what you did wrong. And I think all veterans, who serve, whether they came out documented or not, all of them deserve to be evaluated and given a second chance, because you did serve. I mean, you put your life out there, and that deserves an experience of being able to say, okay, let's go through a probation period, or let's look at your case or something, for the thousands that are out there, not just for you, but I know you're trying to speak for the community, and I thank you for that.
I agree with you. We all need a second chance, and hopefully we will get it. When, I don't know. Hopefully very soon. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure interviewing me, and that's all I can tell you.
Okay, and we'll support you. We'll support the work of Hector Barajas, that even though he's a citizen, I think he's still working with the group, still trying to also bring the benefit of being able to cross over to the United States legally as a package. And, whatever all our viewers are looking at this, look around. If there's some way you can help, some way you can evaluate this whole situation and give our veterans a second chance so that they can pick themselves up, learn from their mistakes, and be granted also the respect for having served as veterans and put their lives out there, please, let's do so. And you have my support for this. And that's the reason why Oscar's sharing, because I wanted the story to get out to everyone that he's not the only one. And I think the veterans deserve a second chance to be looked at and to be honored for what they did for the country. And yes, they made mistakes, but by the same token, that doesn't give us the right to ignore their service to the country as well. Oscar?
I just want to thank you for believing in our struggle. It's not going to be over till we all go home. I'm sure we're going to go home. When? I don't know, but we're going to go home.
Let's bring you home. Let's bring you home. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. I'm Armando F. Sanchez. This is Armando F. Sanchez production. You can contact me at afsanchez66@gmail.com. Please, again, extend us support for this, and also extending us support for the bunker in Tijuana. They take donations. They take money to help other veterans, so get them on their feet also, so that we can get them ready to bring them back into the country. Again, Oscar, thank you very much for being on our program.
Welcome.
Adios.
Bye.